Okay, well, I'm back in the action. Right back in the action. Just leaving my new office building. I'll probably post some videos later. Leaving my new office building, checking on the renovations. It's coming along, a little slower than I would have liked, but it is coming along. I met with one of our contractors and my brother on site, stroked a couple checks because we just started another renovation project. I'm just on the way over. We have a flip that just hit the market when I was in Aruba. So I haven't seen the finished product yet, or the staged product, but I have an inspector meeting me there now to give us the final thumbs up on a few things. So I got to zip over there and meet the inspector. Hopefully that goes well. I'm sure it will. And then I got to zip over to one of my lawyer's offices to grab a check for the building that I just purchased when I was in Aruba, and hit the bank and do all the normal real estate investor activities here. So a few more things after that as well. So right back into the action. I noticed like getting out of your environment for a prolonged period of time. I'd say 5 weeks is a fairly extended period of time to be away. Depending on the environment that you put yourself into, obviously, as long as it's a really positive environment, it does a lot of good internally. So I'm back now. I'm back in the action. I'm kind of fired up. This road here is not in the best shape, but I'm fired up and ready to just hit the ground running. So that little bit of time away, with some deep inner development, it goes a long way. And one thing that I would recommend for anybody that's listening to this thinking like, man, I wish I could get away for a long time, you just don't know how well that you'll handle being away. Like, luckily I was able to set myself up so I didn't really have to do a whole lot of work when I was out. Like, I had a couple lawyer signings virtually and a couple phone calls, but for 5 weeks I pretty much had everything kind of like that I have on the go kind of running without me. But it's a good exercise. If you can get away for even a week, like my mentality before when I was running a real estate training company and I was very, very busy with that, was that there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get away, ever. It's just way too tough. I'm too busy. There's too much this, too much that. And at that time, I impulsively jumped on this huge, what do I want to call it online here? It's basically this huge cleanse. It's 5 hours a day, and it took me 19 straight days to do it. And you can't have your phone, and it's like this really hardcore sort of like personal development type of program. And it was 5 hours a day for 19 days straight, 19 or 20 days straight, 7 days a week with no break. And at that time, I didn't think that I had any extra time, and the thought of me trying to go away for 1 week somewhere was like just not realistic. Like, it just was not even a possibility that I could consider. And then I impulsively said, you know what, I'll figure it out. Jumped onto it, 5 hours a day, and I already had a bunch of stuff. I was doing a bunch of high ticket closing. I was doing a bunch of real estate deals. I had like 4 or 5 active real estate projects on the go that I was personally managing. I was doing a bunch of other stuff, and somehow I worked it out, right? Like, the show continued. It was a little bit inconvenient at times. I actually met somebody when I was doing the cleanse that I eventually ended up hiring, which was kind of nice. So like, there was also some positive things that came out of it over and above just doing the cleanse. But the moral of the story, and my point is, you don't know how well that you'll deal with being away, even if you really think that you can't do it. And forcing yourself into a position where you have to sort of learn new things, and you have to do things a different way, or you have to set somebody up that hasn't previously been set up to control certain functions for you, or whatever, force some stronger communication lines with maybe your key person or a key people or something. You might be wildly surprised. So I was just gone for 5 weeks. I didn't really have to work all that much because I was able to set a lot of stuff up before I left. And now that what are you doing here, buddy? Now the street, Winnipeg has the worst drivers, just as a side note here. Go, buddy. Yeah, you bet. But anyway, it's just a really good exercise to do, and you might be surprised that you're able to do it, and you're going to sort of force yourself into a slightly new territory potentially by doing it. So yeah, the point, I lost my train of thought. This dude almost just about smashed this other dude. But now that I'm back, it's really not that bad. Like, I got a bunch of stuff to do and a bunch of action, but I'm coming back in a state when I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more. taking on a little bit more. There's a couple new things that I'm setting up, which I'm really excited about. I had a lot of time to really consolidate my thoughts when I was away, and really, structure a solid game plan of things that I'm doing now that I'm back. And I was able to bring back new resources, new relationships, new energy, new everything back into my day-to-day business. So, that was like a 10-minute way to tell you that sometimes you can force yourself to do something that is a little bit uncomfortable for you right now, like being away for a little bit of time and going on a retreat or doing some personal development or taking a course. So I'm going back to Aruba in November. That's the other thing. If anybody's interested to learn more about that big convention that I just went to, I would recommend it straight up and down. Shoot me a DM and I'll give you some more information if you want to come with me, or anybody out there is interested, even if you don't come with me per se, but we can link at the same time. I'm bringing a few other people with me when I go. But I would recommend it. The only way to really advance your position in life in general, even your position with yourself, your relationships with your family, your husband, wife, spouse, business associates, the only way to really advance your position is to find new information, understand the new information, and be able to properly apply the new information into your life. Like, that's the only way to advance. If we just don't learn anything else, we do the exact same activities day in, day out, we're not going to advance. Our relationships aren't going to get stronger. They might very, very slowly be on a very slight uptrend over the years, just from learning organically, trial and error type of thing. But getting into an environment when you have very heavy personal development, and it's structured that way, you're going to consolidate your time. You're going to collapse your time frame a lot, and then you can come back refreshed. You learn some new stuff. You force yourself into an uncomfortable position. Maybe it's a little scary. Maybe something breaks down when you're gone, and that's happened to me before as well. Don't get me wrong. I left for a prolonged period of time. Twice it's happened to me. I left for a while, and then when I was gone, there was a big catastrophe. And then a second time I left, and when I was gone, there was another big catastrophe. So I'm not saying it's going to be completely smooth for you, but what I'm saying is that you're going to force yourself into something that's a little bit uncomfortable, and most likely it's going to be completely fine. And if there is some type of catastrophe, or if there is some type of an event that you have to roll with, and now you have to learn some new stuff, like, all of that is just adding to your development. So, I'd say do it responsibly, of course. If you have a tight deadline next week, don't just say, I'm just going to go on vacation or something, right? But I think you get the point. So anyway, off to a couple of properties now, got a lawyer meeting, get some checks, I got to go sign some more checks, check on another project, etc. So I'll post some more updates, video updates, and I'll chat with you guys a little later. Cheers.